Ladies and gentlemen, the player profile. And today is a man who everyone has an opinion of. It's Roy Morris Keane.
Keane,
nice.
Royston.
Good choice.
Yeah.
Doing nothing to dispel the myth of our Manchester United bias by choosing him.
No one's ever said that we've added a Manchester United.
Oh, they have.
They have, yeah.
Who? Name and shame them.
No, they're listeners.
Okay. Yeah, Roy Keane. Important figure in the Premiership.
Royston Keane.
Absolutely. Do you know he took up boxing at the age of 9?
Yeah. I can imagine that.
9 years old. He trained for a few years and he won all 4 bouts in his novice league that he was in.
This is probably in like a man's league as well.
You've chosen this to you've literally chosen Roy Keane to give some balance to our Hall of Fame team, haven't you?
I thought we needed a holding midfielder.
I think we need a goalkeeper. We've got Barry Davies in there.
Goal,
I'm quite happy with that. But it was, while he was training as a boxer, he also was playing a lot of football for Rockmount AFC, which was his side then, and he was showing a lot of potential. He supported Celtic and Tottenham Hotspur as a lad, and Liam Brady was his favourite player and his early inspiration. However, when he started to watch Brian Robson play, Brian Robson became the player he admired the most, because they were quite similar players, actually. The box-to-box style.
Irish fans can do that, can't they?
What's
they
that?
can just change things about like that. So, oh, yeah, no, he's my inspiration now. Yeah, Man United now.
Well, Robson was a similar player to Keane, you know, the box-to-box, as I say, the all-action Captain Marvel, as they called him. Captain Marvel. And this is the kind of qualities that Keane would have, of course, and little would he know that he would eventually become Robson's long-term replacement at Old Trafford. But let's not get ahead of ourselves just yet. He was turned down from the Ireland schoolboys.
Oh, this feels like a flashback now. It's great.
He was... Well, were you there? Did you turn him down from the Island Schoolboys?
Yeah.
Egg on your face.
Yeah, no fists on my face.
He was turned down, and the reason was because he was just too small to make it.
Strange.
It is ridiculous. Lothar Matthäus was told he was too small to be a professional.
Weird.
Yeah.
I was also told that, yeah, so...
Yeah. No, you weren't. you were told you were too big.
All right.
Don't get the two mixed up.
Sticking the boot in there.
And I'll stick it in again if I need to. He applied for trials with English clubs and he was turned down for each one. And in 1989 he signed for semi-pro club called Ramblers, which, you know, there's a little bit of a link there.
Oh, Cov Ramblers?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Similar-
because they're called Ramblers and we're called the Football Ramblers.
That's right, yeah.
It's the same word.
I feel an ounce of Roy Keane's career belongs to us. He became one of their best players, and he would actually turn out for their youth side as well as their first team, often playing twice in the same weekend, you know.
Oh, yeah.
So he was obviously very popular there.
Not the best standard, though, is it?
No, but still, you know, you've got to start somewhere.
Yeah.
As we all know.
Absolutely, yeah, that's true, yeah.
In an FAR Youth Cup match, Keane's performance was seen by a Nottingham Forest scout. That's where it all began. He was brought over for a trial for Forest, and he impressed none other than Brian Clough, and was signed for £47,000 in the summer of 1990. It's a steal.
It's an investment.
Well, it's not bad, is it? His league debut came against Liverpool at the start of the 1990-91 season, and by 91 he was a regular starter in the side, getting in ahead of Steve Hodge, former England international. You know, that's a scalp.
Yeah, definitely.
And,
Steve Hodge was in the World Cup 90 squad.
That's right, yeah. So, and I forget this, but in the 1991 FA Cup final, with Lineker missing the penalty, Gascoigne getting into, Roy Keane was involved.
Yeah.
He played for Forest in that final.
Yeah.
You know, that's how far back he goes. It's crazy to think,
That is, isn't
really.
it? Yeah, you're right.
You know.
Days before the Premiership, in fact, effectively.
That's right, yeah. So it's really interesting. In the third round of that FA Cup...
It's strange, because I thought it was invented when the Premier League started.
No, Tim Lovejoy said that.
Oh, sorry, yeah.
In the 91 FA Cup campaign, and this is magnificent, I never knew this, in the third round he made a costly error against Palace, which gifted them a goal and cost them victory. So obviously a draw went to replay.
Yeah.
And when they got back to the dressing room after the match, Brian Clough was so incensed and so mad, he punched Roy Keane in the face. He knocked him to the floor.
Wow.
What did King do?
Well, Keane was a young lad at the time, so that it was probably that incident that you know, he never sought counselling over, and thus it bubbled
Yeah,
up. I don't know.
yeah.
But he said that he bore no hard feelings because he sympathised with Clough due to the pressures of management, and he was always grateful that he gave him a chance in English football in the top flight. So.
That's so,
uncharacteristic, like he forgave him.
Well, he's allowed to punch him in the face.
But I mean, we're talking about Brian Clough here, you know.
Alcoholic.
Yeah. Anyway, moving on swiftly. Before he was due to be sold because it was quite obvious that the bigger club was going to come in for him and they couldn't keep hold of him. And Forest were relegated, and it triggered a clause in his contract. More to the point, Blackburn was so close to signing him under Dalglish that. On the day the paperwork was due to be signed, old Alex Ferguson phoned him up and was like, "You sure you want to join them?"
Yeah.
And
really?
yep. And he's persuaded Keane to cancel his arrangement with Blackburn, and he signed for Man U for 3.75, which was a British record transfer fee at the time.
Yeah.
And Keane said in later on, he said that his conversation had many swear words with a furious Kenny Dalglish. Absolutely furious. But anyway, so we went to Man U, and at the time, Robson and Ince. I nearly said Robson and Jerome there. Robson and Ince were very much established, a very formidable midfield. I mean, they'd won the first league title since 1967. You know, they were a proper side there. But Robson he was 36 then, Robson, and due to
what year was that?
93-94 was when that was all kind of kicking off. But because of injuries to Robson, Keane got a bit of a chance, and he really took it. You know, he established himself in that side. Then in '95, you know, a little bit later, Ince left for Inter. You know, Hughes went to Chelsea. They kind of got rid of. Canchelskis went to Everton. They sold a few off, and then the likes of Beckham and Butt and Scholes came in. Keane was very quickly the most experienced member of that midfield. And I mean, we all remember the midfield four:
Giggs, Scholes, Keane, Beckham.
I mean, you can't do much better than that. Absolutely superb midfield it was.
What about surely Cantona was around?
Well, I was going to say that midfield four perhaps wasn't established until a couple of years after. But when Cantona retired, Keane took over as club captain, and he missed. That was in the kind of 97-98 season, and he missed a lot of that season because apparently there was an incident with Alf-Inge Haaland.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That was only in the 9th game into the season, and that was, of course, when Keane went in for a tackle, and he badly injured himself, and Haaland possibly regrets this now, stood over Keane and accused him of trying to do Haaland, to try and hurt him, and fake an injury and so on.
I don't know where he got that idea from.
Well, absolutely. Keane perhaps didn't forgive him as quickly as he forgave Clough. So he bounced back the next season, Keane, 98-99, and then of course they won the treble.
But he didn't play in the final, did he?
He didn't play in the final, and that was a great shame because, especially in the semi-final away in Turin when they were 2-0 down, was one of the.
Unbelievable result,
it was a magnificent performance. Bearing in mind, like Zidane was playing for Juve.
Yeah.
You know, Keane was absolutely superb, and it was such a shame he never played in the final. And he just said he felt completely detached from the celebrations.
I'm sure I read somewhere he's chucked his medal away.
I think he might have given his medal away.
Yeah.
Because he just I wouldn't play in the final. He said.
Yeah.
He just felt he didn't want to be there. As I say, he just felt detached from the whole thing. In 2001, it was at Manchester Derby at Old Trafford, and that was when he got his revenge against Haaland. His
revenge on Haaland for him trying to hurt Haaland.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, I think so.
That was quite so much vigour. That was absolutely abhorrent. He did a fucking hatch job on Haaland. Pretty much ended his career. That was disgraceful. It
was disgraceful, and unfortunately with Keane, you do get the kind of two-sidedness.
Yeah. I'm halfway to rejecting him from the Hall of Fame for that.
Well, hang on. Before you do,
he's got to be good at football, and he's got to have outstanding services to banter. And Keane.
We haven't got onto his international career.
Okay, fair. Yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah.
So he's waited 4 years, pretty much 3.5, 4 years to do Haaland.
He's not a petty man.
No. And this is the man who forgave Brian Clough in a drop of a hat.
Punching him in the face.
It's very, very odd. So throughout the noughties, he had a good rivalry with Patrick. I say good rivalry, a healthy rivalry, you might say, with Patrick Vieira. And do you remember the incident in the Highbury Tunnel in 2005 with Gary Neville?
There's a battle of Old Trafford, wasn't it?
No, it was at Highbury when they won 4-2.
Is that Pizzagate?
No, that was Old Trafford. It was at Highbury when Vieira was having a go at Gary Neville. for... was it like
I do remember that.
fouling of Reyes in a
Yeah.
previous match or something?
That's before the game.
It was in the tunnel.
Yeah.
And
Do you
Keane...
think in the tunnel after the game or at half time?
Sorry. It's before the game as the teams were lined up, and Keane turned around and went, all right, well, if you're going to pick on someone, why don't you pick on me?
Yeah.
And Vieira kind of like, well, he was kind of like, well, come on then, what's up with you?
Didn't he say if you
And this was all caught on camera.
Didn't he say if you love Senegal so much, why don't you play for them or something?
Yeah, but
like
Vieira did say, well, if you love Ireland so much, why don't you play for
that?
it?
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was a good... I mean, so Roy Keane with his... just to sort of cap off his club career there, 9 major honours were Man U, and he was the most successful captain in the club's history. He also, an interesting record he's got, he jointly holds the record of the most red cards received in English football. Total of 13 times.
With who?
Jesus.
Huh?
Who's
Joint holds a record.
Joint.
Was Jones, isn't it? Vinnie Jones.
That was it, Vinnie Jones.
Yeah.
That makes sense. 13 sendings off, man.
And then, of course, then he left Man U after slagging a lot of their players off and had a big bust up with Ferguson and joined
That
Celtic.
was to do with Man United TV, wasn't it?
There was an interview on Man U TV. No, I don't think it ever went out on air.
No, he slated loads of the players that he subsequently signed.
he said that's right, but he said they needed to butt their ideas up, and then I think he got pissed off and they didn't air it.
Yeah, that's right. Ferguson pulled it from air.
He didn't do much for Celtic, did he?
They won the league and the cup, but he only had
taken its toll by
yeah,
then, hasn't it?
he only had sort of 10, 11 appearances. He was a bit injured and stuff, and but it was the club who he's always supported. It was a good way for him to finish.
It's a shame it wasn't better, really. It would have capped it off really nicely.
Yeah, but moving on to the international career, he never really took well to the Irish national team setup from day one. When he was called up for his first game for the under-21s, he took an immediate dislike to the whole thing and just described the setup as a bit of a joke. This is at the under-21 level. We haven't even moved on to the proper stuff. Apparently under Jack Charlton, he tussled with Charlton a lot. He refused to travel to Algeria in a friendly once. Jack Charlton said you'll never play for Ireland again. He did, though. World Cup 94, he was there. They got to the second round, of course, put out by Holland, and that Pat Bonner mistake, as Barry Davis said. When they came home, though, the Irish, there was a bit of celebration, after the World Cup, and he said that he was reluctant to join in the post-tournament celebration because he said there was nothing to celebrate. We didn't achieve anything.
Yeah, he cancelled Sunderland's bus tour when they won.
He did, yeah. I mean, Roy Keane, he's just a born winner, nothing else will do. And then we move on to World Cup 2002, when
I didn't rate you as a player. I don't rate you as a manager.
Yeah, the FAI went to the Pacific island of Saipan, the only island in the vicinity which didn't have a football pitch.
Oh my God.
It really was. To be fair, you've got to sympathise with Keane.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, he was just fuming, and he was actually battling to be fit. People forget. So he needed a good training process to get him going for the cup, for the World Cup. So he was often moaning, and he was fuming when the squad's training equipment came late. He said where they were training, he said it was like a car park. And Mick McCarthy had promised him to eradicate all the lacklustre and unprofessional approach to the training that had been personified in the Jack Charlton era. So he couldn't take any more, so he said, I'm going home. I'm going back to Manchester. And then McCarthy talked him round, and then Keane gave an interview to the Irish Times, just slating everything. Now, see, McCarthy, to me, went wrong when he took great offence, obviously he's going to do that he confronted Keane over this article in front of the entire squad and coaching staff.
On the bus.
Yeah.
He's
not like that, is he?
That's awful management.
I don't rate you as a player, I don't rate you as a manager, and I'll stick it up your bollocks. That's what he said. That's what he said.
There was a few more. There was a bit more effort and blinding in there. And Mick, you're a liar. He did start with. But yeah, that's the kind of you can stick it up your bollocks is how it finished, which I just
That's a great
love.
insult.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
But the thing is, none of Keane's teammates kind of backed him up there. They all just... I remember Keane saying this. He said they all just wimped out. But then afterwards they were kind of like, yeah, you're probably right, Keane.
I bet, yeah.
So, I mean, you can imagine he was just fuming. And
you can imagine Jason Magatea going, where are we? So, where am I? Is this not a number 43 to hide? Do you know what I mean?
So, and then we talked about his managerial career. I mean, what an instant impact he had at Sunderland.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, straight up the table. And when he joined Sunderland, he couldn't believe the non-professional attitude and approach to everything they had.
Well, they listened to ABBA in the dressing room, didn't they?
Oh, that's right. Yeah. I mean, they had a
Duran all the way.
Yeah, exactly. They on a trip to Barnsley. 3 players were late for the team coach when they were playing away to Barnsley. He just left them behind.
Yeah.
He just went.
I thought that's fair enough.
Absolutely, it's fair enough. And it was that kind of thing.
Steve McLaren used to do the same thing.
You mean he got left behind?
Yeah.
So, I mean, Roy Keane, this is the guy who had... He's just an amazing character, but for good and bad reasons.
Yeah.
He divides people so much. I can remember meeting a couple of guys from Ireland, and I was just talking to them about Roy Keane, and it caused a real argument between the two. One of them saying he walked out on us in 2002, and I was like, how can you say that?
Yeah.
It really divided the country.
It makes you wonder how he signed players like Diouf and Richardson.
Yeah, it's crazy. He does seem to have gone out of his way to get these strange...
Diouf's an absolute liability. He's a liability.
Oh, God, absolutely. I mean, the penalty he gave away against Portsmouth.
Silly
ridiculous.
stuff. Yeah.
Ludicrous.
I think if Keane was from the continent or even South America or something like that, he'd be kind of like that, his own man, and he'd be outspoken and stuff like that. But there'd be a bit more... He'd be more of a creative player, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of, if he was Eric Cantona, for example, people would forgive him a lot more because he's just an industrious...
It's weird how it works like that.
That's right, yeah.
True.
But, I mean, you know, he's really got two sides to him. I mean, Keane, this is the guy, as I said, 4 years he held a real massive grudge against Haaland and then absolutely hammered him in that match. Yeah. Had a real vendetta against Patrick Vieira. But yet, does a hell of a lot of work with the Irish Guide Dogs for the Blind Association, which is one of his one of his charities. And there was an occasion when there was an under-13 side from Dublin who, a few years ago, they finished well in their league, and their coaches gave them as a reward, they gave him a trip to Liverpool and tickets to a Liverpool match, but they all obviously loved Roy Keane. You know, he was kind of all their hero. And so, like, the coaches of this team, just kind of joking around, sent a letter to Roy Keane saying, "Oh, we're coming over, we're going to be in Liverpool. Any chance of getting a trip to Old Trafford?" So a couple of months on, the boys, this team are in Liverpool the second morning of their stay, and they get a phone call, and Roy Keane phones them up and says, "Oh, I'm really sorry for not getting back to you sooner, but if it's sort of still all right with you boys, I've hired a coach. It's on its way to Liverpool. It's going to pick you up, take you back to Old Trafford. You can get you can meet all the players who are in for physio, get a tour of the stadium and everything."
That's brilliant.
And he did. Yeah. And when the boys left the Old Trafford, he said, "Listen, boys, don't be telling everyone. You'll ruin my reputation."
That's
Roy Keane, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, brilliant.
Yeah, it's very true what you say about him. Just like the whole, he is just a born winner. They should do a Nintendo Wii advert with him just smashing his living room.
Yeah,
brilliant.
But I mean, he's never had a look in for kind of European Player of the Year or World Player of the Year, and I'm surprised at that.
We needed a bit of steel in the Hall of Fame. We've got it.
Absolutely.
We've got it. There'll be some absolute rucks in the dressing room.
Yeah.
Awesome.